Hey guys, welcome back to episode 2 of SideQuest Sessions. Today, I got a good buddy of mine, Renegade Titan, with us. We're going to be talking about Star Wars. We're going to be talking about some streaming, some games. Survival games is the topic today. But yeah, we're both big into Star Wars, and so that's going to be really the main focus today. And so we're going to dive into it. But yeah, Renegade, go ahead and tell people about you. Tell them where they can find you, everything about us there.
Uh, I'm Renegade Titan. I stream over on Twitch. I have a X, I guess is what it's called now, account, so you can follow me over there. I did stream on Kick for a while, but chose to come back to the Purple before they started their whole integration with allowing more streams. But pretty much, I stream survival looter shooters. I'm basically a variety streamer. Sons of the Forest, Destiny 2, Fortnite, Ark. You name it, I probably would play it.
Nice, nice. Same here. I'm a variety streamer as well. My big thing though is I love a good survival game, and obviously we'll dive into that when we get to that. But first up today, Star Wars. Okay, we both love Star Wars, and I like the old. I like some of the new, not a lot of the newer stuff, but a lot of it is good. Um, One thing that stands out to me is this newer series is like the Mandoverse. Mike, you know all about that, don't you?
Oh yeah, I got the Bo-Katan helmet.
Right? This is what takes place after Return of the Jedi. And so what really stood out to me about this series is not only the characters, but the story it's driven on it, because it's not revolving around the Skywalker saga to a degree. It does have mentions of it later on, but it's kind of brief cameos. But this is a whole new series, so to speak, with new characters and some returning favorites. And so for me, I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Oh, by far, Mandalorian, I was that guy waiting every day for it to drop on Disney Plus so I could watch the episode. So,
Yep. I'm right there with you on that. I'd be up sometimes, early hours in the morning just so I can see the newest one whenever it dropped on it. Usually I fell asleep and had to catch it the next day anyway, but the thought was there.
Oh yeah, definitely. I
But
mean,
what's your...
sorry.
Go ahead.
No, like I was gonna say, I personally have actually been on the hunt for the Black Spire series of the Mandalorian helmet.
Oh, okay.
So as you know, I go to Disney World on a regular. I've done the build your own lightsabers a couple of times. I've got a bunch of the legacies. I was not able to snag the Black Spire series Mando helmet the year it was there.
Okay.
So ever since then, I've been on the hunt for it. So I'm trying to build my collection because I've always been obsessed and fascinated by the whole Mandalorian.
There you go. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. Speaking of the helmets, briefly, I have a 3D printer, and I did print a Clone Wars helmet one time and a Mando helmet.
Ooh.
Still got a lot of work on those, so there's nothing major there, obviously. But just to throw that out there, I've seen those. Those are very nice. Now, the ones he's talking about, exceptional. Very nice. Very well done. I've only seen pictures. Obviously, I've never seen one, but I hope you get your hands on one now. I hope that for you.
I can tell. I know you've seen the live view of the Bo-Katan helmet.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But so with this Mandoverse, it's culminating in a movie, and it's going to incorporate the Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and I think Ahsoka was mixed in there as well.
I think you're right.
So this movie, Avenger-style Star Wars, is how I'm classifying it. I think it's going to be fantastic if they do it right, based on how these shows have went. What's your thoughts on the movie, and how do you think it'll go with the overall series and everything?
So,
apologies on that. We did have a little bit of tech issues with the mics right there. But as you were saying, though, you said you was torn on this.
Yeah, I'm torn in it because of the simple fact that, one, I feel like they could stretch it out, leave it as TV series, and be able to grow the universe more, give more backstories, show more of the side stories for the characters, let the characters grow more before
Okay.
they would go and throw it all together Avengers style.
Right.
You
Okay.
know,
I mean, I could see that. I mean, you could stretch it out to a couple more seasons for each thing. I mean, do they have plans? And I don't know on this. Do they have plans for shows for some of these after the movie? I know The Mandalorian, I don't think they do. But I was thinking maybe Ahsoka they do, though. Or is it ending as well?
so Ahsoka does have a season 2 that they said they were doing.
Right.
The Book of Boba Fett, I have not heard anything, but
Yeah, I'm in the same boat on the, like, that one was, to me, that show was all right. I don't know, it got better as it went through, but the first couple episodes, to me, was just kind of dryish. But it got better towards the end, though, when everything started finally coming together on it.
See, the Book of Boba Fett, I was actually impressed with, and I liked it because it showed his character development.
Yeah.
So, he was a mindless, he was a clone from back in the Clone Wars. He grew up, became a bounty hunter, and we all thought he died in the Sarlacc pit. Well,
Okay.
then to come out and he clawed his way out, and his character model changed as the season went on, and I was absolutely fantastic. Like, I was so thrilled to see that they grew his character.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, that does add up with the story and what they did on it. So, I mean, I absolutely could see that. That's a good point that you bring out on it.
Yeah.
But the next one, and I don't know a lot on this one, and I hope it comes true. But Simon Kinberg is doing a trilogy of Star Wars. It's a new trilogy, and from what I was reading on it, it's something that the notes on it said that it was moving the franchise into the future, and that it's not a direct continuation. So I believe it's going to be something new from the Skywalker saga. I don't think it's going to be the Skywalker saga, but something new altogether. Which I mean that could be good, because I mean everything has to evolve, right? And I would love to see more stories, more books, novels, whatever you want to call it, shows, that kind of expand on the Star Wars saga in general, not just the Skywalker saga.
I would agree. I did hear at one point that they were talking about doing a trilogy that was, in a galaxy far, far away, but it wasn't the Skywalker story anymore because, that's basically completed.
It is.
And
Yeah.
it was supposed to be a story about somebody across the universe and all of this, that it was, it had nothing to do with what's been going on. It was all the way across the galaxy, and that they were going to grow off of that. And I was intrigued by it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you're right. I mean, like I was saying, it's like I'd love to see more. And I'm not saying nothing wrong about the Skywalker saga. Like, I love all the old ones, the Skywalker saga and everything that's been out there. I think it's fantastic because I know that's what originally the stories was. But I would love to see just expansion in general to give us more, because there's so much more, out there as far as in the world of Star Wars that hasn't made it to big screen. That's not Skywalker related on it.
Oh, yeah, you've got, what was it, the New Republic that you could do. You've got the Old Republic. You've got where they thought it was peaceful. Granted, we did have a show that tried to do that, and the fans weren't very excited about it.
That's true. Yeah.
Which, myself, I'm sorry, I loved The Acolyte. I loved it.
So it wasn't. Now I'm not going to jump on the hate bandwagon because I don't believe in that. I'm happy to get anything, when it's related to stuff I like. But I will say that show was more miss than hit for me personally. Was it as bad as what people said? No, I don't think it was. I just think that how it went about and the timing and everything was a little bit off on it.
One of my favorite aspects of it was the fact that it showed the bleeding of the Kyber crystal.
Yeah, that is true. By the one you wouldn't think it would be, too. The one twin.
Exactly. Yep. The
Yeah.
one that everybody thought was, oh, she's the good one. Well, here's your sight card.
Right here, yeah, that's exactly it. Like, is she though? Is she? And I'm with you on that. So, but yeah, I can agree with that on it. I mean, I don't think it deserved all the hate that it got. It just wasn't for me personally, you know. But another one, here's one that I found very interesting because it makes me wonder how they're going to do it for one, but also because you have your Jedi and Sith, right? This is James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi. Okay. And from what I was reading on this, it's a prequel that's set 25,000 years before the Skywalker saga. And it explores the origins of the Jedi, the Force, and that makes me wonder about the Sith as well. Like, how does that factor in? It's being co-written by Bo Williamson. So I think it's going to be pretty good in how they do it, but it makes me wonder how they going to, or maybe if they even will, how are they going to introduce the Sith? Because you got to have, good and evil, right? Good versus bad, so to speak. Otherwise, it would just be an origin movie with nothing to it,
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Are you familiar with the books that talk about the original Jedi?
Very little on those. I'll be honest. I've read quite a few Star Wars books, but I haven't dabbled in anything like that. No.
So as long as they can follow what was originally done, like talking about the Ashen and the Bogan, and they go from there, because in those stories originally it was just Jedi. There was no light, there was no dark, there was only the Jedi.
Okay.
And then some of them followed because there was a star in the sky that was light and a star in the sky that was dark, and that symbolized the Ashton and the Bogan. And they split, and the dark star was the the darker side of the Force, and then there was the light side, which was the light side. But initially, they were what we have determined were gray.
Okay.
They followed both sides.
Yeah, so like Qui-Gon Jinn type, because I think he was a gray Jedi, wasn't he? Isn't that what they classified him as? Or
they did
unofficially?
classify him. Unofficially, yes.
Yeah.
Unofficially, he was classified because he believed in love and all of that.
Yeah, because I mean, it makes you wonder, and that goes back to the question, if Qui-Gon had raised Anakin, how different would it be? How different would he have came out? I mean, that's a good question to ponder on, and we may have to come back to that after we put some good thought into that, but that's a good question, how different would Anakin have turned out, if Qui-Gon actually was the one that had raised him? And not saying nothing bad about Obi-Wan, I mean, he was young. Like, he was very young when he was given Anakin as an apprentice and a Padawan. So, I mean, it just makes you wonder, how different would he have turned out with the beliefs that Qui-Gon had?
Yeah, which if you also think about it, who Dark Tyrannus, as they call him, being Qui-Gon's initial Jedi Master.
That's true.
When Qui-Gon was an apprentice, you got that because Qui-Gon learned it from him. So imagine had he stuck with the Jedi and actually, had faith, and they pulled it together, and those two helped mold him.
Yeah.
How different the story could have changed. I mean, look out, what if, here we come.
Right. I mean, that's a good point. I would love to see like a what if on that. That's a good point on that, because just to see what would happen, Disney, if you're listening, go ahead. We give you permission. We would like to know.
Thumbs up. I don't have the funds to do it.
Right. I'm right there with you on that. But so we're going to move on, and we kind of touched on this a little bit with the TV shows. Ahsoka season 2. So, we know that it's coming. And I'll tell you, the first season of Ahsoka, I was glued to it. Like I was glued to it like I was the Mandalorian. I had to know what was going to happen. And I'll say this because I got with the hype of Rebels and Clone Wars and all that carrying over into that. And I had one aspect where I was worried, one aspect where I was excited. But I'll tell you, that show came out spectacular, I thought, from what I've seen.
I rewatched the Clone Wars before I watched it. So
yeah, right.
I full-heartedly agree with you on that. And the Rebels, Clone Wars, all of that. It tied all of that together perfectly.
It did. Like I was shocked. I shouldn't say shocked, but it was very well done how they connected it, and it made sense the way it did. Because they could have easily done something to where it's like, oh no, that don't make sense. But I thought it was really cool, and I liked all the casting that they did. Each character that they had, I loved. Like I thought they fit perfect, and to use the guy from Rebels, I forget his name off the top of my head, but the same actor for Thrawn, that was awesome.
Man, that was beautiful.
Like it was just awesome. And so I do look forward to season 2. I'm hoping to get an update on it. But, as things come, we'll see on it. But that was one that and another thing about Ahsoka, because you had Ray Stevenson, that passed away. And
Yep.
man, his character in that show was so well done. So cool. Balin.
Oh yeah.
Like he was such a good character, and it left you wondering what he was going for, Like you get kind of a glimpse, but it was sad though. Ray Stevenson was a good actor. I liked a lot of things he was in, and so I know they are going to replace him. And the last I seen, the rumors was Rory McCann. I don't know how true that is, which he played the Hound in Game of Thrones, and so I think that'll be a good replacement.
That would be a very interesting replacement. Another big, strong man, somebody that's got a demanding presence.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that'll be an interesting. Balin, I thought was played perfectly.
Yeah, like he had that demeanor, like you said, like that big presence, and like he didn't really have a lot of lines. I mean, he did, but what I mean is like his presence alone left an impression. And so I'm hoping that it can carry over, and I have a good feeling with Rory picking it up that it will. And so I think they'll do justice with it, with him picking up the role, if it is him. Now, if it's not, I don't know, but I think it'll be all right.
I have to say, like, the fight sequence that he did have in that, it was great.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like this long drawn out battle. It wasn't, extended over several episodes. It was straight to the point and bada bing, bada boom. But he did an amazing job with it, and I mean, come on, he took on Ahsoka.
He did. Yeah. And like, I mean, she's no slouch, and so he did, like, his presence alone, the fight style he had, like it was up there. Like it was top notch.
Oh yeah.
And
It
so
reminds me of the depiction of Lord Maggot. Malgus?
Malgus, yeah.
Yes, like the
Okay.
depiction of how he would fight. Not as ruthless, but like he, the big demanding demeanor and
Yeah, like everything's done with precision and thought. Like,
Oh, yeah.
and so I could see that. Like, oh, that'd be a good one. That's a good comparison. I like that. Ooh, that's a good one. I'll have to think more on that one. And so the next one, now we did kind of talk about this a little bit, so we're kind of just going to skim through it. But The Mandalorian, moving from show to movie and no continuation as far as Mando. I'm kind of, the more I've thought about this since we, talked about it prior, I'm kind of on board with, I wish, like, I don't mind it doing a movie. I understand them doing a movie for like the crossover stuff, because it's going to be a big movie. But like you said, I would love to see continuation of the shows. Because you can extend those out a good ways with some great storytelling. I mean,
yeah.
that's my thoughts on it. What do you got?
I mean, that's exactly where I'm at with it. I just, the Acolyte, like I said, I loved it. I just don't want to see the reverse happen with Mando. They took it from a movie to a TV series, and the fans were like, nah, we don't want a season 2.
Yep.
Where everybody's like been, pawing and waiting for the next Mando season, and now they're like, we're gonna do movies. It's like, okay, don't cram it all into one movie then.
Yeah. If they did, it would have to be like a 2-parter or something,
Yeah.
But I don't know that they would do that on. I don't know the specifics behind it, but I know it is a movie. Dave Filoni's doing it, so I think it'll be fine. But It does worry me though that, like you just said, if they try to cram all of this in it, you know what I mean?
I've got Dave Filoni and oh man, I'm drawing a blank on the other guy that's been working with him on those two men. They love the fans. They
Yeah,
listen to the fans, and that is one of the biggest things that I love.
yeah,
They are trying to go, pull some of the novel stuff. That way we have, our lore, our canon, pulling some of the novels into the canon. I love it.
yeah. I mean, it's a good point. It's kind of the legacy stuff, bringing it, adapting it to the newer stuff, in which, that's what they did with Thrawn, and I love how they did that one.
Oh yeah.
So the next show, now, I don't know if you've seen the first season, but Andor, have you seen Andor?
So I honestly, I'm failing as a Star Wars fan because I
Oh,
have not. I have not
let me tell
watched
you.
it, and I've been wanting to.
It's a good one. Like when it was first announced, I was kind of like, "Really, Andor?" But I watched it, and let me tell you, it was good. It makes me sad though because it's only 2 seasons. They're not doing a third one, but it was a very good show. The acting in it, the story, everything that they've introduced, spot on. I loved it. Give me more, but I know they're not.
Okay, well, with you saying that, I will definitely be watching it then.
Yeah, yeah, you should definitely check it out, and I want your review on it when you do get the chance to check
I
it
will
out.
give you it.
All right, so the next section that we've got coming up, now this is talking about the newest, and I'm specifying the newest trilogy of movies. The ones with Rey and Poe and Finn. Okay, do you think those movies deserve a second chance as far as rewatching? And now I've seen them, and I've seen them a couple of times. I'm not the biggest fan. I didn't mind Seven. I thought Seven was pretty good. I think they had to have a jumping point, because it'd been forever, since a movie. And so I liked it, but then it kind of went downhill for me with 8 and 9. I did not care for them as much. But again, I'm not jumping on that hate bandwagon. I'm glad to get anything in the verse that I like. But do you think they deserve a second chance as movies?
7 started out where it could have went really, really well.
That's yeah.
Okay. The whole thing with, them pulling, kidnapping children, making them into soldiers, all of that, and then they give Finn the ability to activate a lightsaber.
Yeah.
That was like a twist.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. Then they turn around, he gets his butt kicked, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But then you turn around and Rey pulls this lightsaber and just, puts up the fight of a lifetime, first time ever touching a lightsaber. It's like, okay, you're stretching.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean,
Now,
she went up against Kylo Ren, who was already, trained very well. So I mean,
and trained by Luke Skywalker at that,
yeah.
and of the Skywalker bloodline.
Mm-hmm. And so that's where it kind of lost me a little bit. It didn't completely push me away because I'm not going to say that, but from there it kind of I seen the downhill on it for me. Now, not saying if you like it, that's fine. I mean that's you. But one thing that really irked me, and I don't know if this irked you or not, but one thing that got me about those movies was Finn. I liked Finn as a character. I thought he was great. I wish they would have done more. But it seemed like in each movie they teased him this ability. For me, what I thought was going to be like Force related or something along those lines. And I was hoping that was going to come true, for him to have some level of the Force or realize he does or something. And it never did. And
I would agree with you on that. Like I said, they teased that he was able to activate the lightsaber, which only Force sensitive people could.
mm-hmm.
So you tease that he's Force sensitive, and then you don't play on that at all.
Yeah.
Which is where I agree that the movie fell short on Finn. They did not develop his character.
No. It seemed like he was screaming Rey a lot.
Mm-hmm. He was always calling for Rey. He was like that lost puppy dog.
Yeah.
As far as my dislike of the movies, I'm kind of meh on them.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm gonna be honest. My favorite part was Luke Skywalker dusting his shoulder off.
Right. Yeah. That was, I mean, that was a neat part, you know. I
And
mean,
the
it
fact,
had its moments.
yeah, it did. And the fact of the whole, basically Astro projecting all the way across the universe to be in that fight, that was something that they taught that Jedi in the Old Republic could do.
Yeah.
The same thing with the bond that, Kylo and Rey shared. They did try to pull some of the past lore, which I kind of give them props for that, but it was not done good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how well you know of Revan and Bastila. They had that bond where
Yeah.
they could sense each other, all the way across the universe.
I mean, I kind of knew that about Revan. Yeah, I knew a little bit on that. So, but yeah, I mean, like you said, those movies had their moments, but it wasn't enough for me to say that I liked them over just meh. You know,
Yeah,
but
definitely agree.
yeah, could they have been better? Yeah, by far. But unfortunately, it didn't end up that way. And we got what we got. I'm happy to get anything, but it doesn't mean I have to be happy about it.
As long as Disney does not bring back Palpatine for a third time.
Oh, please no. Well, you do have the new Ray movie coming up, so
Oh,
you never know what they may decide on it. I mean, I like Daisy Ridley, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they're doing. Maybe they can kind of retcon some things or change some things,
well,
But
wasn't it with the Mandoverse they actually did retcon some of the old movies or the
I
newer
don't know.
movies?
I don't think so because the Mandoverse takes place like 30 years before that or something like that. It's 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, I knew that part, but I thought that they said that they retconned something because of it. I'll look that up and I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah. Let me know on that. I'm curious on it now. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch all of my Disney Star Wars now. So, okay, so do you have a favorite Star Wars movie?
My favorite Star Wars movie by far will be Revenge of the Sith.
Okay, newer. I got you.
The prequel.
Yeah.
The transition with Anakin I thought was absolutely amazing. And of course, the favorite line of only a Sith deals in ultimatums, don't make me kill you.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, my cousin and I, we absolutely love that movie, and we'll mess around. We'll text each other that exact line, don't make me kill you.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like the prequels, but my favorite movie out of the Star Wars world is Empire Strikes Back. To this day, that's always been my favorite movie. I can't really give you a reason as to why. I don't know. It's just something about that movie. Like, it's one of those where I can watch it and then turn around and rewatch it and not have an issue. Like, it connects with me somehow, and I just love the story that it gives on it.
That's fair. Like just watching the movie and you're just like, yeah, I'm drawn. I've
Yeah,
watched it a million times and I'm still drawn into it every single time.
every
That's what
time.
makes a great movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's every time. And like, I mean, I can watch all the other ones and be fine, but it's just something about The Empire Strikes Back that it's been my absolute favorite and always will be when it comes to the Star Wars movies, unless something else comes out, obviously, that catches my attention. But I mean, through all of the movies, that's my go-to.
And that like the fact that how old those original three are, and they are still grade A. They were top of the line back then. Visuals, everything, they are fantastic. I will 100% back you up on that.
Heck yeah. All right. So we're moving on. We're moving on from movies and TV shows. We're going into novels. Okay. I'm a big reader, and I know Mike has dabbled in some reading as well, but we're talking specifics on Star Wars books. Now, I've got two series that hooked me right from the beginning of my Star Wars journey on books, that is. Let me say that. The first one is Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn. Let me tell you, that's when you first get introduced to Thrawn. And this series, and I kind of touched on it, but I was saving the juicy parts for now. So Thrawn, this is where he first appeared. Okay, it was in these books. He was created by Timothy Zahn, and then because he's been gone the whole time. The Emperor sent him to the Outer Rim. And so when you see him in Rebels, it's kind of like, how is he here when he's supposed to be there? Well, Rebels sets it up perfectly for how he's out in the Outer Rim. Now, the story did change a little bit on the reason he was out there, but it kind of made it perfect in how that he was stuck there and couldn't get back the way the Ahsoka TV show did it. Now, I know you haven't read that one, though, Mike. Is that right?
Nope. Actually, because of your recommendation about it, I actually have Audible now.
Oh, let me tell you.
And it cost me 1 credit to get it. So I'm going to be getting it. I get that monthly credit. So I'm going to get it this week, and I'm going to listen to it while I'm at work.
You've got to let me know what your thoughts on it is, because you'll see what I'm talking about. Like Thrawn, and I knew this before he was in Rebels. Like, Thrawn was a mastermind. He is spot on. Great character just from the get-go, and when you see him in that book, you're gonna be like, wow, this dude's something else, like in a good way. Like he is very well written. Zahn did an amazing job. I met Zahn once. I'm gonna throw this out there. I've got his autograph on a couple of different things. Great guy to talk to. I actually got the chance to sit with him and talk for just a couple of minutes. Great guy to talk to. Like, he's got some good stories on it.
Well, that's cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, that's been many years ago. So what, when you go to a Star Wars novel, Mike, what's one that stood out to you as far as Star Wars books?
Revan.
Okay.
The book about Revan. It gave the whole backstory, he was the Sith he was a Jedi that turned Sith, and then he was captured by the Jedi, returned, had his memories wiped, and eventually at the very end he ends up, being captured by the Emperor and everything because he goes to kill the Emperor.
Okay. I may have to check that one out. That's one I haven't read, so I may have to add that to my ever-growing list of books to read.
And actually, I touched it earlier, but it actually emphasizes about the bond between Bastila, who was one of the Jedi Council members, and Revan's wife.
Okay.
Because in the Old Republic, they talk about how, the Jedi used to marry and they were allowed to love.
Yeah.
The other thing I really liked about it was the fact that they went back to these books show and depict 2 separate people's visions at the same time. So you had Revan's, but then you had another Sith Lord that was trying to rise through the ranks, as part of another chapter of the book as well. And it was showing how immensely different from what we see the Sith and the Jedi in the movies and in the TV shows compared to back when it was the Old Republic, when there was massive worlds that these groups populated. And it wasn't just one Sith or 2 Sith, it was a whole civilization of Sith and a whole civilization of Jedi.
Okay, I'm going to add that to my list right now. That's one I haven't read, so I'm definitely going to check it out. It does sound like it's right up my alley, being Star Wars in general. And so I'm going to add that right now so I don't forget about it.
And I will just say it kind of ties in a little of the Mandalore history in that book.
Oh.
I did say I love Mandalorians.
That's true.
One of my biggest things about Revan is I love his helmet.
Yeah, it is pretty sweet. I have seen the helmet, though. It is a pretty cool helmet, though. I wonder if you can get one, or if you have to have it custom made. You know what I mean? I'm sure you can buy them. That'd be cool to have, though.
If they release a Black Spire edition of Revan's helmet, you are shut up and take my money.
Right? Here's my wallet. Just do what you need with it.
You want my first unborn child? I mean, he's already born, but...
Right? He's grown up. He'll work for you. Yeah, but no, I'm with you on that. That'd be cool. That'd be a cool helmet to have. It really would be.
That would be the new helmet on my stream.
Right? It'd be sitting there like you'd be like, no, I'm wearing that every time.
By far.
But the next one, I will tell you, the next series, it was one that surprised me. It was very good. I loved it. I loved all three of them, actually. And that's the Han Solo trilogy. I don't know if you know that, but they did release a Han Solo trilogy of books early on Han Solo. It's the Paradise Snare, the Hutt Gambit, and the Rebel Dawn. And these books, if you're a Han Solo fan, let me tell you, and I love Han Solo. That may be why I'm drawn to episode 5. I don't know. But the books are very well put together because it gives his early story, his early life story, you know, talking about where he started out as a young pilot, how he became where he was at. And they kind of touched on this in the Han Solo movie a little bit. You know, remember in the Han Solo movie, the new one, where they was on the planet and the creatures that was in the dark room? You know what I'm talking about?
Where he met Chewbacca?
No. It's at the start of the movie where him and Kira escape from.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's the same kind of creatures that's on this planet. They can't go out in the sun, and so that's why it's dark in there. So they kind of touched on that in a way from the book to the movie, which I thought was a neat little touch. I mean, it wasn't a lot, but it was enough, but I enjoyed it. But that's one series because it goes through all these books, and I don't think he gets, and if I'm trying to remember right, but I think he gets the Millennium Falcon from Lando, but it's not until like the third book on it, I think. And so he don't even have it, you know, in the first two. He's just a smuggler. And so that's another one you should check out if and when you get the chance.
Well, that is a very interesting. So these three books, they all take place basically. The first one I'm going to guess is probably prior to the Solo movie.
It would be, well, these books are legacy. So technically, I think they're about the same time on it.
Okay.
So, and I'm saying technically because I don't exactly know, but age-wise, it would be right around the same time on it.
Okay. No, I'll have to add that to my list as well, along with obviously the whole trilogy of Thrawn.
Oh yeah, the Thrawn one's a must. That's a must. You have to let me know because you're going to be hooked on it. You're going to be like, oh my word, I gotta know what happens, and you're going to want the next one, which it's understandable. And so, but yeah, that's it on the books.
Well, I actually have one question I just thought about.
Oh yeah,
have you read the two books that came out about the Jedi and the Sith? They were like the whole history of both.
Oh, you're talking about the ones that had like the fancy holders?
Yep.
Yes, I have not. No, I would love to get my hands on those, but no, I haven't. They look cool as crap though.
They look cool as crap. I haven't actually. Let me rephrase that. They did have them at Barnes & Noble. I kind of skimmed through them. But I actually, I would say 2 years ago, I had Audible at that point. And I ended up listening to them while I was working. So it was a very interesting read to listen to while you're working. You know, you spend most of your life at work. Why not put books in your life while at work?
Oh, it's a good way to put it. I love a good book. I absolutely love a good book.
But they were phenomenal. They gave a lot of detail, and they do actually talk about the origin in the Jedi one. They talk about the origins of the Jedi.
Okay. I may have to look into those. Those are the ones that had like the vaults, I think is what they was calling them, right? You push a button, the doors slide open, book comes up. Is that those?
I think so. I've only actually seen the book outside of it, so I don't know if they had the vault for them.
I'll have to look it up.
They are the really, they're thick. They're just loaded with knowledge all the way around.
Heck yeah, dude! I'm definitely going to look into those. I mean, I've seen them, but I'll be honest, I've never looked at them, picked them up or anything like that. So I'm definitely going to look for those now just to see, because I would love to know more about it, And I'm sure there's stuff in there that I didn't have a clue on.
I mean, one of the things in the Sith book that I realized is Plagueis was actually alive during Phantom Menace and the start of the Clone Wars.
Was he really?
Yes. Plagueis was actually alive during that time.
Oh, okay. No spoilers. I'm gonna
No
have to check it
spoilers,
out.
sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out. It's got me intrigued now, so I'll probably definitely pick those up. I probably will get the individual books though, because it looks like the custom edition ones are. I don't know if it's custom edition or special edition. The ones with the vault, those are not cheap. So
No.
I'll probably just pick up the individual books. The books themselves look amazing though. In general, looks like there's there's 4. There's let's see, the Jedi Path, Book of the Sith, the Bounty Hunter's Code, and Imperial Handbook. So that may be a good read just to go through it.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
I'll have to check that out. Speaking of books, and this one is not Star Wars related, but you being the gamer that you are, you're going to want to check this book out, and you can do it on Audible, but it's Dungeon Crawler Carl. Okay, let me tell you, I've mowed through these books. There's like 7 books right now. They're all on Audible except for like the first 4 books, or they just now did hardbacks for them. But this book series, it hooked me within the first 10 minutes of reading the book. Like, I gotta know what's happening on the next page.
What is that called again?
Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Oh, I just found it on Audible.
Yeah. So if you're a gamer out there and you like to read, definitely check out these books. Mike, if you check these out, let me know, because my favorite character, and you're going to laugh, my favorite character in this whole book series to date is Princess Donut.
Princess Donut?
Princess Donut.
By the way, all 7 are on Audible now.
Oh, yeah. So you have to let me know. If you check those out, let me know, because I've got to know your thoughts. Like, I'm about to start chuckling just thinking about it. Yeah. All right. So we're moving on.
I'm going to read the summary after we're done here.
There you go. So next on our agenda today, we're still talking Star Wars. We're coming towards the end of the Star Wars discussion, but we're going to move into Star Wars games. Now, I've got some games that I'm a huge fan of, and I know Mike does as well. And some of these we kind of touched on, but 2 games that stand out for me is the Jedi Order games, Jedi Order and Jedi Survivor. Love Cal Kestis. I'm waiting on a live action version with the actor, because great games in general. I still need to beat the second one. I haven't beat it yet, but I know overall, great story, great acting, great fight sequences, and the way they do the Force in them. Love it. So have you played any of those, Mike? I think you have, haven't you?
Jedi Order, I played. A Survivor, I have not yet. But the Order, the very first one of it, I had that thing pre-ordered. I was stoked for it, and I loved it.
Yeah.
On PlayStation, I actually 100%ed it.
Very nice.
So I played the shit out of it.
Heck yeah, dude. That's what I'm talking about.
Pardon
It's
my
a good
French.
one, though. It's a very good game, though, and I look forward to, and I haven't beat the second one, so nobody spoil it for me. So I'm hoping there's a third one. I don't know if they've said anything about a third one, but I could really use a third one. I'm just going to throw it out there, even though I haven't beat the second one. There may be a spoiler. I don't know, so I want more, more good games.
I definitely. The way that, obviously I can't talk about the second one. I haven't played it. I've seen play of it, never played it. The way the story went in the first one, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yep. A Survivor, it showed that it was possible for the Jedi to survive Order 66, or some of them.
Some of them.
I mean, you had Grogu, you have Cal. So there was ways that some of the extra characters of Star Wars survived that. And it shows the fight that they had to have to live after that.
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean, because you kind of see that, like, with the Obi-Wan show, because in that, you see, multiple Jedi, so to speak. Obviously, it's focused on Obi-Wan and whatnot. I mean, that's a good point, though, just to see how some of them did actually survive in the ways that they did, by kind of suppressing the Force, so to speak.
Yep.
And if you didn't, obviously, you could be tracked. So that's a good point on it. I like that way of thinking on it. I mean, it shows the grittiness of it and what they went through to survive.
Oh, by far. One of the things that I loved about sorry, we're going back to the shows, but the Obi-Wan show was the wall that they had of all the Jedi and all the refugees that came through.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
So,
it lets you know that they're still out there, just they're in hiding.
yep. And the fact that it said, "May the Force be with you," still meant that they didn't lose hope.
Yeah, that's true. And then you do see the ones that did, obviously, as they became the Inquisitors.
Yep.
But my thinking is if you see that wall, to me, those are ones, obviously, that didn't give in, so to speak. And so they're still out there doing what they can.
Yep.
Whether it's hiding or helping.
Helping as much as they can with little to no Force abilities, and it's just absolutely phenomenal the way they did that. Plus the way the game set it all up, the way that they did all of those was it's breathtaking with exact masterpieces.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So that's a good point. That's a good way to think about it. But it's also sad too, though, because of what happened, the way that it happened. So the more you think about it, but I like that. I haven't never really thought about that till you bring that up there. So that's a good point on it. It's a good talking point. So one game. Let me ask you this. Now back to the gaming. So one game that that we talked about or kind of talked about was the Old Republic. The MMO on it.
Yep.
Now, I have played it. I actually, and I know you're going to chuckle on this, I actually re-downloaded it because I thought about getting back into it. Now, I don't know if it's changed, but I had fun on it every time I played it.
I have just one question for you.
Oh, yeah?
What server?
Right. To be honest, I don't know what server I'm on, if that tells you anything. I haven't booted it up yet, but I've got it downloaded.
As long as it's still around, I was on Starforge.
Okay. We may have to link up on there. See what kind of good we can do. Unless you're part of the Sith, then I'm sorry, I can't help you.
I primarily did play Sith, but I do have Jedis that are up there, and I have ones that I just started.
Ooh, I'm a Jedi for life.
Well, the Sith have a great story, so.
Yeah, you're not wrong. They really do. The only thing that I and this is where I don't know because I haven't played it in a while. The only thing that kind of irked me is that at some point in that game, when you hit a certain level, didn't you have to pay to progress story-wise, like the main story-wise? Otherwise, it only left you like side stuff, though, right?
No. So the main story-wise, you did not pay for. You just wouldn't get all the extra rewards for some of the quests.
Okay.
The thing that you would become a subscriber or preferred for was access to more of like the raids, the flashpoints and stuff like that, to have more than one a week. Like if for new players starting out, when they would go to the star space, and they would go and they would be going to their next planet for the first time before they get their ship, you run the Black Talent mission. And at least on the Sith side, I should say. And you could only run that once a week at that rate. And then that was the only flashpoint you could run.
Okay.
So that's where they did that. And then later, now you said you haven't played in a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
Later they added in the Revan story on Yevon, which you in turn had to work with. If you were a Sith, you had to work with a Jedi to defeat Revan.
Okay.
And then from there, they continued working together over the more add-ons, the Eternal Throne.
Right.
Other ones like that, they ended up working more together. Me, personally, I have not beat the Eternal Throne storyline, but I got pretty far into it. I am a preferred player over there, obviously, because I've spent money on it.
Nice.
I have the Legacy Revan gear.
Okay. So do you think that's one game that, and this is another strictly curiosity type question, do you think that they're ever going to do like an overhaul on it to boost because I don't know if it's had a graphics boost or anything like that. I know like WoW and stuff like that has, obviously it's been boosted up and as popular as WoW is. And by the way, I love to play WoW. I just don't want to pay for the subscription, so I'm not playing it currently.
Amen.
But back to what I was saying is like, do you think that they ever? Because my thing is like I want to play this one again, but I don't want to get into it again if they plan on shutting it down. You know what I mean?
So, as far as shutting it down, I don't know, because I mean this is really the only Star Wars MMO that's out there, and it's been out for years now. I mean, my daughter's 11, and I remember my wife being pregnant in the hospital, and I had a laptop gaming on this thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and it was around even before then. So it as far as an overhaul, God, I wish they would.
I was reading, don't they have a new developer on it?
On that, I don't know.
Okay.
I know that they have a new developer, quote unquote, from what they're saying, that they were going to be doing the new KOTOR.
Yeah, that's PS5 exclusive, which I'm hoping to pray and still to this day that comes true, because KOTOR is one of my all-time favorite games, up there with Legend of Dragoon, by the way. Just saying, that needs a remake as well, since we're on that subject. But like I was reading on this one, and
give it to PC players.
Well, I doubt they will, but I'm hoping that it comes true. But one thing, because I would love to get into this one, and I would think I had read that, and I may be wrong, but to me it says if they have a new developer, to me that says that the game is going strong, that it will continue on, and hopefully we do get that upgrade, so to speak, or the overhaul graphically. I mean, sound-wise, the game sounds great. There's no issues with that, and so graphically, it could probably use a little tweaking.
I would say that, because I know the fact that they have gotten new DLCs for it. Yeah. Like, they just recently released one. I got an email about it recently.
Okay.
So, it means that the game is still going strong, because they're still releasing content for it.
Yeah.
So, I hope, if they're going to do an overhaul on it and up all the graphics for it, I remember my little RX-58 having a hard time running it.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that with a little 580 doing that. But now, you got that 40, 60, 70?
40, like 60.
Yeah, so that ain't going to have no trouble at all, So, I mean, I think it'll still be a pretty game. I mean, it still looks good. I don't want people to think it doesn't. Like, it still looks good as a game.
Oh, yeah. It's still amazing worlds, amazing landscapes.
But it could use a little upgrading.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's my thoughts on it. Great game. If y'all check it out, let me know. I've played it. Mike's played it. And
Team Starforge.
That's right. Jedi all the way.
Hey, this is the way.
Right. So next up, we're going to move into just some straight gaming talk. We're going to talk about a couple of different things on this. We got some hot topics, we got some games, and we're going to get into a streaming talk. Just a little bit. And then we got some questions from our listeners from Discord. And so these are going to be interesting topics. Questions are good that we've gotten. So we're definitely going to touch those. But first up, as you know, and I've said this prior, my go-to game, and right now I am playing Assassin's Creed Shadows, but my favorite game genre is survival games. There's a couple that's came out, and Mike, I don't know if you've seen these. You may or may not have. If you haven't, it's cool. They're kind of new. Well, Enshrouded's not, and we'll get to that one. But one of them is called If Sun Sets, okay? If Sun Sets came out back in November. I had played the alpha on it and the betas, and so this one is interesting. The concept is on it, because what it is it's a survival RPG game that during the day, you're doing what you need to get supplies, build your base, fortifications, whatever it may be. At nighttime, you've got hordes of enemies that come out and try to basically take you out. And so you've got to survive the night with your bases and buildings and whatever defenses you may have on it. And so it's a fun game. I mean, I haven't played it as much since the full release. I have it. I will be getting into it. Summer of Survival's coming up, so we may get into that one. And so if you haven't checked that one out, Mike, I highly recommend it if you like survival games, which I know you do. You've been playing that Ark, ain't you? Let's hear about it. Tell us about Ark.
Ark is a very, well, right now it's in a very weird state because of all the DDoS attacks they were receiving.
Yeah.
But man, Ark has every aspect of a game that I had ever looked for. It's got dinosaurs, which I've always been fascinated with since I was a kid. It's got the building aspect, so, if you're into Minecraft, there you go, you got that. It's got, the breeding and raising of dinos, so if, you're into raising, dinos to be your specifications of weight, height, well, not necessarily height, but weight, stamina, health, color. You can do all different kinds of mixes. I mean, shoot, there's guys that go as far as they've been breeding dinos for specifications on colors. Like there's a Deadpool color, there's Tron.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Some of these guys put so much time into this game, it's amazing. Seeing the base builds on some of these is amazing.
Oh, you ain't kidding. Like, I've seen some, and it's like, and I enjoy, like I said, a survival game, but some of these bases that people build are absolutely amazing with how they look.
Oh, yeah. 100%. I mean, one of the guys that I've made friends with on my server, he looks like he's got a whole civilization living in that, and it's just him.
Yeah. Sounds like my Conan fortress.
So it's like full out, I do play on PvE, which they did add with Arcus Survival Ascended. They added a PvE aspect. So we just kind of, we go around, we meet other players, we, get to know other players, we make friends, and, you know, everybody buys, sells, and trades. We've got our own little market that we have.
Heck yeah, dude. I mean, that's good. That's a good thing. And like what you said with the PvE, like that's what I play on is PvE. I used to do a lot of PvP, but I just got to the point where I don't mind a grindy game, because I play Conan Exiles. That's my go-to. Like, how you have Ark as yours?
Yeah.
Like, Conan Exiles is mine, and I love that game. I've been playing since launch, and so I've got a lot of hours in it. I originally started on Xbox, I moved to PlayStation 4, and now I'm on PC, and so I've played it on all of those platforms, and so I've got a lot of hours into Conan. So I fully get the grind on it, but the PvE is what really gets to me. Like, I like it. I don't want to have to compete against somebody else and them just take my stuff, because I'm a solo player on some of these games. I don't have a clan, so to speak.
Yeah.
Conan, and I haven't played PvP rather in a long time, but it used to be as if you're not in a big clan and you join, you might as well go ahead and say goodbye type thing, because you're going to get wrecked every time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in PvP on Ark, one of the big things that people do is for the newer people that join that server, you'll have this big alpha tribe guy running around, and you'll start building, and they'll just, wipe your stuff out.
Yeah.
Because, they have control of that server, and there's nothing you can really do about it.
Yeah. See, that's one thing that kind of... I don't want to say it pushed me away from PvP, but it kind of did. Like, I would play some games like Rust. That's one game that I don't want to say it's a bad game. I think it's got good potential, but that's one thing that pushed me away from that is, when I did try to play Rust, I spent probably an hour to 2 hours just trying to spawn in. And every time I'd spawn in, there was somebody waiting and I would die. And I never could get anywhere. So I haven't touched it. I haven't picked it back up. But that's one thing that, pushes you away. But for me anyway, that's why I mainly went to PvE on it, because I like the survival aspect, but I don't like having to grind against other people.
I feel that, I work a 9 to 5, so I don't have the time to put into a PvP. Mm-hmm. And we don't, I have a small tribe, and we all actually, except for one of us, we all know each other in person. I work with 2 of the guys in the tribe, And then the third guy is one of my coworkers' cousins. So we kind of all just are, a group. We play, we have fun with it, we harvest, but we work our 9 to 5, so it's hard. We don't have somebody on the server at all times to defend it. So PvP
Right.
just wasn't a logical thought on that.
I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, we're not professional gamers. We're not on there, at a whim. Like you said, we work 9 to 5s, and that's, that's just part of it. But I mean, that's a good point to bring out, though, is that, and I think I can say this, is like we play games to have fun on it, and be able to do what we can on it, build and craft and survive. I don't want to have to survive against somebody else or somebody else raiding my base while I'm gone, when I'm at my job or something,
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm with you 100% on that one. And that kind of brings us to the next kind of subject on it. What are your thoughts on the way survival games are going? Like, do you like the way that you see them going? Do you see improvements that could happen? I mean, obviously they can improve in some areas, right? Because no game is perfect. I mean, even like Conan, I'm a diehard Conan fan. It's not perfect, but the way I see these games improving and the different type of survival games, I think it's a good genre to be a fan of. I'd see different ones coming out. Like, I mean, if Sunsets, I don't know, and I'm saying this as purely I don't know. Not that, I don't know, and then there would be another game, but I haven't seen another game like that to where you got to do what you can during the day because at night you get attacked. Now, I don't know of another game doing that.
Is Sunsets like multiplayer? Like you said, it's a RPG style. Mm-hmm. Is it like, say you and I got it? Are we able to play together?
Up to 4 people. Yeah, you can have up to 4 people in your world. Yeah. Or it's 4-player multiplayer. I don't know how they classify. I haven't been able to do multiplayer yet on it.
Okay.
But it's 4-player multiplayer. I do know that for sure.
All right. Well, that is a game that I will check out. But as far as the way the survival genre is going, I mean, you've got your bread and butter where like your looter shooter extraction survival, like Escape from Tarkov, Delta Force, what was it? Gray Zone was another one.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked Gray Zone.
You got all those. Those, a lot of those were really good. The biggest problem with some of those was the fact of the cheaters.
Yeah.
And one of the things, like, I absolutely loved Escape from Tarkov. I mean, I'm sure you remember.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But the biggest problem they did was every time they did a ban wave on cheaters, they put the game on sale.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, we banned 5,000 cheaters, but the game's on sale now, so guess what? Now
they can just rebuy and get back in. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I see. But man, some of these survival games have gone way above and beyond.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you.
7 Days to Die, like the way they did that I absolutely love that game. We used to stream that. We had our own server, and we did a lot of funny things. The integration that Twitch did with it, where people could come in and spawn shit on or stuff on you all the time. Man, it was fun. My chat would try to come in and kill me every day.
Nice. That's awesome. So I didn't really play 7 Days to Die. Like I dabbled in it, but I didn't play enough of it to say yay or nay. You know what I mean? Like I've played it, but it's very little. I didn't get very far in it before I had moved on to something else on it. I may have to pick that one back up.
We got to the point where we had trucks.
Oh wow.
So we were rolling. We had a few people that played it with us, and we enjoyed every minute of it. But it just kind of tapered out, and we moved on. We moved on to Power World when Power World came out, Man, I don't even want to touch that game on right now because of everything going on with it, but I feel bad for those developers.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of knew something like that would come, though. I mean, because, look at the game. You can say what you want on it, but it is a direct clone almost of Pokemon.
Yes, I will agree a lot of it does look the same.
Yeah.
But there was aspects of it that, they didn't give us with Pokemon that, Power World was like, hey, this is what the fans have wanted, and here they go.
That's true. That is true on
And, it really was. It was what the Pokemon fans had been wanting for years. We thought we were going to get it with, what was it, Pokemon Arceus or something like that?
Arceus?
Arceus, thank you.
Yeah.
And it just fell. It fell short. It wasn't what the fans wanted, and then Power World came out, and boom, that game blew up overnight.
Yeah.
And
So
then it just tapered off because of the lack of content for it.
Yeah. So do you think with Power World, do you think the developers going into that knew it would kind of be an uphill battle, so to speak, like in advance? Do you think that's something they thought of? Because, I mean, the similarities is what I guess I'm pointing out.
I think in the back of their minds, they were worried about, okay, we're going to be fighting,
Nintendo.
Yeah. At some point with this. Some of the stuff that Nintendo hit them for, like the whole spheres and all that, like, you guys are getting out of hand with what you're trying to hit them for.
Yeah.
If I throw a sphere out, it doesn't mean I instantly think Pokeball.
That's true. Yeah. And I'm a Pokemon fan, and I didn't go that route either.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could see what they're saying though, as far as that though, well.
If we're going that route, why aren't they going after Arc for the cryopods?
That's true. Yeah.
You got cryopods on Arc where you can store your dinos. It's the same concept once again, but I throw my cryo out and, Nintendo's not hitting us for it.
Yeah. I got you. So I've got some hot topics, okay, we're going to jump into. Now, these are topics that some of this I don't understand, and I'll explain on that. So, Ubisoft, right? Ubisoft. I like a lot of their games. Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, the Tom Clancy Ghost Recon games. Not so much Rainbow Six, but that's just not my thing. Like, what's with the hate with Ubisoft? Like, I don't understand it. I guess that's where I'm kind of at. Like, every game I have played, I have enjoyed. Like, have I liked some games more than others? Yeah, but that's just being a gamer in general.
Right. Honestly, the only thing I can ever really think is a lot of their, because didn't EA do something with them, and that's what started all of it?
That I don't know. I couldn't tell you on that.
I know a lot of it, from what I was hearing, was like because of a lot of the pay to win stuff and all of that. But I mean, nowadays that's everything.
Right.
You've got big developers like Call of Duty, where it's pay to win. You get blueprints and stuff just for buying.
Yeah.
As far as the game series go, man, by far one of my absolute favorites from them was Breakpoint.
Yeah, Breakpoint was amazing. Ghost Recon? Heck yes. Yeah.
Breakpoint was absolutely fantastic. I remember the old our Rainbow Sixes, like Rainbow Six Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah, Nintendo 64, sitting there with your buddies playing, trying to do the mission. Amazing. Amazing stuff from them.
Yeah.
The Assassin's Creeds. I mean, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, 100%ed, like...
Love the Assassin's Creeds. Now, I will say, I've loved every one of the Assassin's Creeds. I know people haven't. That's fine. That's your thing. But have I liked some over others? Yeah. But that's just being a gamer. Like I said, I have my favorites over others, but that doesn't discount that I still like the other ones. I just didn't like them as much as, the ones that I do.
Oh, yeah, no.
One that I'm waiting on that Ubisoft has is the Division 3. I love the Division series. 1 and 2, my word, spectacular games. Spectacular. So I can't wait for Division 3. That's going to be amazing.
I'll be 100% honest. I didn't even know there was going to be a Division 3, but guess what? You just got me interested.
Yeah, yeah. They. I think. Let me check. I don't want to tell you wrong, but I'm pretty sure they officially confirmed it as far as Division 3. Let's see. Let me make sure. I don't want to lie to y'all out there. Yeah. So it's been confirmed. Division 3 is coming. So
Let's go.
I can't wait. Now, obviously, I think it's still in its early phase, so it's not going to be soon.
Yeah.
But doesn't change the fact that it's still coming as of today. Now, that could change tomorrow, obviously, and I hope it doesn't because I want to see it. I have the Division 2 downloaded still, and I love it. I love the game. I don't do so much Dark Zone, hence the PvP side of that. I stay out of the Dark Zone.
I was just about to ask you about that. What's your thoughts on the Dark Zone?
Yeah, not for me.
Me personally, I mean, I've always been a PvP guy.
Yeah.
Halo, Call of Duty, everything like that. And then I got into Tarkov, again, a lot of PvP, PvE,
Yeah.
And then Tarkov released their PvE, which got everybody away from the cheaters, which that was a big draw in. But man, PvP in some of these games is just so beautiful. When you don't have cheaters, you don't have people exploiting, and you just have people that are there to play the game and have fun, whether it be PvP or not.
So, that's the thing anymore is that, like you said, with the cheating and everything that goes on, I know these companies, and I'm going to say this, but I know these companies are supposedly working on resolutions. I get that. But, when you see it run rampant in some of these games, it makes you question whether or not they are doing something about it, Like
100%.
Well,
yeah, like I explained, Tarkov, for instance, like I said earlier, you ban 5,000 people, but then you put the game on sale, guess what? Those 5,000 people are right back.
Yeah.
You're
just opening the door, like inviting them back in, so to speak, after you've just kicked them out.
Yeah, but you're getting revenue from it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point on it. It's like, I know and the thing is you're never going to be rid of cheaters. It's impossible, right? If that was to ever happen, that would be awesome. But I can't foresee that ever happening. There's always going to be somebody that finds a loophole, so to speak, to get that in.
I completely agree. It would be amazing to see cheaters get finally the boot and the smart software that we have now to be able to detect instantly and just be able to rip them out of their games and everything.
You would think with the AI software, that it'd have that ability, with today's technology.
You would think, but like you said, we're always gonna have cheaters somewhere.
Yeah.
Ever since cheatcc.com.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So it is what it is, but for those of you cheaters that are out there listening, if you're cheating, man, stop. Play the game. Have fun.
Yeah,
don't ruin it for other people.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. I don't think that. I think they do it because they know what it does, and so I don't know. I don't look for it to ever go away. That's just my thoughts on it, though. Right. I think there'll always be something.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. So, but moving on to a little bit more of a positive thing.
All right.
So one thing that we focus on, and I think I can speak for Mike on this, is that we love community-driven games. Community games, with your communities and your Discords or wherever it may be. Mike has his Discord, his Titan's Den. I've got mine, but we do play a lot of the games together with the communities, and so we're just going to highlight a couple of those community games that I feel are good bonding games, so to speak, for your community. Okay. Now, we've been playing this one a lot lately, and we'll probably be playing it tonight, but Repo.
Masterpiece.
Right. Repo is so simple. It's very well put together, and we talked about this one on our last podcast, but it's just one of those games that where it's so much fun to play with your friends and the shenanigans that you can do, the clips that you can come up with. Like, it's one of those that it's fun to play. I highly recommend it to anybody on it.
I couldn't say it any better. I mean, the poly jump rope.
Right? I'm just saying, like, you could come up with some creative stuff in these games, and to bring your community into it, as you're doing these games, I think is a good way to build and bond with your community. Because, I mean, they're there with you, and, you just want to support one another. And that's what we do. We've supported each other. We've known each other for a long time, haven't we? A couple of years now, I would think.
Man, it has been some years.
Yeah, I mean, I got into streaming, I think, late 2020, I think is what I want to say. And that may be wrong, but I was thinking...
Weren't you following Shock before then, though?
No, I don't think so. Not until I got into streaming.
Okay.
But
yeah, I mean, then we've been friends for, over almost 4 years now then. Guaranteed.
Yeah. So, I mean, and we've seen some things, come and go. And and we'll touch on those. We'll get to that, but back to the community stuff. One game, and I know Mike has seen this one, and the best part about this game is it's free. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Just Act Natural is the name of it. Okay. This game will have you laughing, crying, mad at your friends, and back to being best friends before the round's over. It's so much fun. It's a handcrafted claymation game. It's free. The guys that do this game, props to them. Credit where credit's due. Y'all should check it out. You can have lobbies up to 24 people on this, not including the NPCs. But the overall goal is you want to blend in with the crowd and be an NPC.
Yep.
You got task, objectives, whatever it may be, because the modes are different. But if you want a game to build with your community, to bond with them, and it's not going to cost anything, I recommend this one. Just Act Natural.
Just Act Natural, you had me download that for your community night that night, and I mean, fantastic game.
Yeah.
It's another super simple, but it is a completely community-based game. What was it? You were playing it yesterday.
Yeah, we sure did.
You had a bunch of random people come in, and they were playing with you, and it's one of those games where it builds community, it's all fun. There's no, you're just there having laughs and a good time. And that's what streaming's all about.
Yep. I'm with you on that. Like, it's I like the bond that comes with it. I've met new people through it. I've had more friendships brought from these type of games, and when they've come and joined the Discords and actually become part of the community. Now, there is a difference. I will say this. There is a difference in letting random people join you, and I don't have a problem with this per se, but if you really want to focus on your community, invite them to your community, get them involved, with your Discords or your streams or whatever you may be doing, and that way they can keep connected with you, because not everybody stays connected. People move on.
That is very true.
But
I've seen it.
Right.
I'll just leave it at that. I've seen it firsthand.
Well, and you know what? We're going to jump into this. So, hot topics, still in the hot topics. One thing that me and Mike have talked about is, and we're not saying anything specific about anybody specific. So I don't want y'all to think, it's not. I still have respect for a lot of these people, and I still follow to this day. No issues. But one thing is that with me and Mike, we've supported each other for a long time, a couple of years since I've started streaming. I've supported Mike and vice versa, promoting and everything.
Most definitely. Yeah,
but we all met around the same time with other streamers, and those streamers, I looked up to them, and I still do. I'm not going to say that I don't. But one thing that kind of irks us, so to speak, is that, we've played games with them, we've supported them, but you never hear from them anymore, And I know people move on, and that's a part of life. I get that. But you go through all these years of supporting somebody and, you don't get it in return, it kind of wears on you a little bit.
It does. It makes you kind of question, were they, people that you called your friends?
Mm-hmm.
You thought you built, more of a personal relationship with some of these people because you were in their streams all the time. You had their personal phone numbers, or you were in personal calls with them a lot. And then it's just like poof, gone. And
Yeah.
it's like, I've spent hard-earned money on you. I've spent my time, and again, it's not downing anybody. I know people move on. I know
Yeah.
people are busy with life and stuff like that, but it's like, I always found time to at least come in, chat with you a little bit, even if I was busy. I
Yeah.
still made that time because I considered you a friend,
Yep.
and some of them you build such a strong bond with that you consider them as family, and then it's just like with a snap, they're gone.
Yep.
And it's like, where did these people go?
It's like,
What
where
happened?
did you go? I'm with you on that. I mean, I get it. People, and like you said, people do move on, and I have no issue with that at all. But it goes to question, though, is that, like you said, was you really building your community for the community, or was it for yourself? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there is a difference, despite, and obviously you want to build for yourself as well. I'm not saying that by any means, but stick to the people you have around you, especially the ones that supported you.
Yep.
I mean, you don't.
And like I've talked with the missus. She would like me if, God forbid, if things don't grow more and stuff like that, she would like me to stop streaming in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of about it because, I get interaction, I meet new people, and I make new friends and stuff like that, and I enjoy it. And if I'm on the PC playing, if I'm streaming, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the fact of building yourself, yes, that takes priority. It is let me rephrase that. It is very important to build yourself because you have to.
Yeah.
But
To
at
grow.
the same time, don't forget everybody that was below you or everybody that has been with you throughout that journey.
Yeah.
I mean,
The close ones, especially.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
the close ones. I mean, Paulie, I have a spot in my Discord for, if you're an affiliate, post there. Post your links there. Share your content. That way we can help you grow.
Yeah.
If you're not
absolutely.
affiliate, I have a spot for that as well. Post it there. I will push my community and try to get you to get to that affiliate because I will be like, yo, guys, let's go help this person out. Or,
Yep.
I raid out almost every stream, and I always look for people with numbers that are similar to mine or a little lower, or people that are looking for affiliate.
Yeah.
I try to help push those people over that to get them over, to, help them grow. And, networking. Networking is always important, but when you network, just make sure you're networking the right people.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good way to put it. And so, but that's one of the hot topics that we've talked about before. I've kind of labeled us the forgotten ones, and
Yeah.
because, that's what it feels like. And, I have no ill will towards anybody. I really don't.
No, not at all.
But, just pop in and say hi. You don't have to stick around. I would just like for you to say hi, something.
Oh,
So.
yeah, by far, just you popping in, saying hi, that's going to put a smile on my face. It's going to make me see, okay, I'm not forgotten by this person, the bond that we had or anything like that. And it's going to remind, you of good times with that said person or, some not so good times with that
That's
person.
true. That's true. Yeah.
Where you guys just got rolled. Prime game, what was it? The one that was on Epic that we used to play with.
Rogue Company.
Rogue Company. You used to squad up with your team, and we would roll through them, and then we would get rolled.
Yep. That's true.
But Rogue Company was a fun game to play with your friends, and you could always mess around too while you were in the game.
Yeah, that's true.
So, it's just don't forget people that, didn't forget you.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to jump ahead. The next section, we're going to we got questions from the Discord community. Okay. So here you go, Mike. You ready?
Oh,
Do you have a preference of what kind of games do you play on PC versus console? And why do you think some games succeed so well on one system versus another? I personally don't have a preference. Like, I have a PlayStation 5, I have a Nintendo Switch, and a PC, and I play all three. And so I don't really have a preference. I'm a gamer. I like games. I like games that have good stories. I'll say it that way. Why do I think some games succeed so well on Earth versus others? I think every company has their exclusives. And depending on that exclusive, I think it can succeed or fail, but I wouldn't really compare it to other consoles or systems or anything like that. I think it all just comes down to the game itself, personally. I think it's more of a personal question on it.
So, I'm primarily on PC, but I have, my household, we have 6 Switches, we have 2 PlayStations, I still have my original Xbox 360, and I don't prefer my PC over console, but I do for the simple fact that I have a vast more expansive library that I can access over
That's true.
any one particular console. Like, it makes it to where I have all my games in one location. But, I mean, there are games. Like I said, I still have the old Xbox 360 for the original Dungeon Defenders that my wife and I, we have memories on. We played it when she was in the hospital after giving birth to one of my children. So, we hooked it up to the TV in there, and we laid in our bed together, and we're sitting there playing that. So, there are memories. As far as portable consoles and stuff, the Switches and everything, fantastic for road trips. Obviously, it's not going to be very easy for me to transport my computer.
Right. I mean, yeah.
But, consoles have their key points. They're light, they're portable, where PCs, they're not.
Yeah.
But in all retrospects of it, I don't prefer one over the other. I was a console gamer for the longest time, and then I got into PC.
Yep, that's how I started. Console, and then went to PC. I have no qualms about it. I like both. I would say play what you like. Don't let anybody tell you different. Don't let other people influence how you want to play. If you want to play on console, play on console. If you want to play on PC, play on PC. More and more games nowadays are coming out as cross-play in general. So it doesn't really matter where you play. Play what you like.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with the crossplay capabilities now on everything, it's one way or the other. It doesn't matter what you play on anymore.
Yeah. So I got one more question for you, and I don't know how if you can answer this one or not. But do you have a preference of reading comic books or manga books? And do you think one is harder to read / enjoy than the other? Now, me myself, I like both. I am more of a comic book collector. I have a lot of comics, and I read every one of them. Like, I'm not one of the people that, get them and grade them and all that. No, I like to read them. Do I find them hard to read? No, not really. Manga books, I will say, at first, if you've never read a manga, it can be a little bit different. Because, it's not read the same way. You have to read it basically in reverse if it's a true manga. Is there some great mangas? Absolutely. I haven't read one in a while, but that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy them. I do enjoy a good manga.
For me, I mean, I used to be a big comic book collector, not collector, but comic book reader when I was younger. As I've gotten older, I've more gone towards the manga side. My wife has almost the whole collection of the My Hero Academia.
Very nice.
So,
very nice.
she's read most of those until the more recent versions or ones, but she does. She has several copies of different mangas that she started and read, and I've read them. So the mangas are pretty good. I like mangas a lot. But comic books, I'm pretty much the same way as you. Is I have no real preference either way, but I'll read.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I mean, I enjoy reading in general. And so I think promoting reading any way you can, whether it be comic books, manga, or just regular books in general, or Audible, any way you can get a book in general. Because, I mean, either way you look at it, you're still reading, the mangas, the comics. It's not all just pictures. You got to, there's reading involved. And so I enjoy both.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I mean, that's my thoughts on it.
And you know what? I have to say, I 100% agree.
Yeah. So we've come to the end of this episode, Mike. I'd like to thank you for joining me on this episode 2. If y'all don't know Renegade Titan, please go check this man out. It's Renegade_Titan_ on Twitch and on X, I would assume. Is that right?
Yes, on X as well.
I'd like to thank you for joining me today. I've had a blast with our conversations. We'll definitely be revisiting some things maybe later down the road, next episode. You never know. We'll see what happens. But I would like to thank you again for your time. I know, joining me and everything. I don't want you to take it I don't want to take it for granted. I appreciate everything that we've done and all the years, that we support each other.
We've been friends for several years, and I was excited. I've been stoked all day for this. No need to thank me. Thank you for allowing me to join you on this journey on your podcast. And I wish nothing but the best on it, and I will be continuously supporting and telling people about this.
Well, I do appreciate it. But that's all we got for today, folks. Again, follow us over on Twitch. I am iPolyXX. This is Renegade_Titan_. Come hang out with us, chat with us, and y'all have a great rest of your weekend and a good night.
Bye.